Okay, nearly all clubs and teams carry costs. Scouting is no different. You know, if you sign your kid up for band or for, you know, robotics or whatever it might be, there's going to be a cost involved. Scouting is no different than that. PAC's program costs, patches, belt loops, special awards, meetings, special events. Okay, so our approach is to spread that cost out amongst our members. And I will tell you that I don't think in any year since we joined in 2009 have we had to write a check for PAC dues within our family because we fundraise. Okay, so the popcorn fundraiser is scouting units selling gourmet popcorn products from Trails End, September through October. Okay, that's what the product lineup looks like. I have sales sheets up here. So when you break, you can get your sales sheet. It has an order form on the back. That's what you're going to take around and use to sell your product with. That's what that looks like in detail anyway. All right, so how does this work? So fundraiser math. This is, I'll kind of break this down. You'll notice that on any of the literature that the council puts out, they say that 73% goes to scouts. So that's one thing to keep in mind is that when you're selling this, and you're talking about a $20 bag of caramel corn with nuts, people might think you're nuts, right? That's a lot of money for a bag of caramel corn. The key is 73% goes to scouts. So you're not selling popcorn, you're saying, look, I'm trying to support the Cub Scouts. Would you be willing to support the Cub Scouts by buying some gourmet popcorn? And that's the key. Of that amount, council keeps 41%, and we get 32%. Now, of that 32% the PAC gets, the bulk of that goes to the scout account. Okay, so 25% of all sales that your son generates goes into a scout account. Okay, so if we look at the math, you know, look at setting a goal first off. This part, you know, the numbers part is more for the parents, I figure, because you're looking at, okay, $100 for PAC dues, $24 for registration, you know, summer camp on top of that. How am I going to cover all this? So this goal here is more for the parent to look at and go, okay, well, could we sell 1,000? You know, that would be a great number to hit, and that's very attainable. So looking at just how the numbers break down there, this is an example. If we're looking at okay, so looking at the numbers, let's say we're trying to cover the registration and the PAC dues of $100, so we need $124. We don't want to have to write a check for that. Just take that times 4. That's how much popcorn you have to sell. And believe me, selling $496 of popcorn is not difficult. At $20 a bag is not difficult. Another scenario, if you add on $130 for summer camp, now you need 1,016. Again, very doable. We had 5 boys last year that sold over $1,000. Okay, goals. I'm looking for 100% participation. We have 65 scouts. I'd love to see every single scout sell popcorn. Last year, I think we were short by about 4 or 5 scouts that didn't. And goal number 2 is beat last year's number. What would happen if every boy sold 500 times 65 scouts? Extra incentives. So this is where your Cub Scouts are going to get excited, because there are these sheets, and they'll say like if you sell at least $30, you get a patch. Okay, if you sell at least $150, you can choose from one of these 4 prizes. And there's a Delta Dart Kit, a Lab Zero Gravity Rover, I don't know what that is, a duplex bug cage with a wood kit. And they go on up from there. So, you know, different dollar amounts have even cooler and cooler prizes, all the way up to a $4,000 mark where you can get a 7-inch 16 GB tablet, or a camera, or a tent. Have your son look at this and go, you know, which one of these prizes do you think he'd like to shoot for? Set that as his goal. All right, so moving on. Extra incentives. So there's this thing called Fill It Up. So basically, idea is Each one of these order sheets has 30 lines. And getting 30 sales is not hard. I mean, that's something you can do in about a couple Saturdays, and you can probably get most of that and make up the rest of it in a show and sell, perhaps. That's not hard to do. If your son fills up 30 lines, then there's this information we're showing here, which is 2 tickets to a Ruse game, accompanied with a pizza party beforehand, and I think a free t-shirt and airplane contest and stuff like that. Just a lot of fun. 2 free tickets to a Royals game in the spring. And there's that little kid carnival area past the outfield, I don't know what they call that. You get into that for free for a couple of hours before the game. There's a parade, scouting parade you can participate in. And then if you fill up your order sheet early by the September pack meeting, then they throw in 2 Sky Zone tickets. So that's how Fill It Up works. And the other thing I'd tell you is September 29th is the pack meeting. Yeah, and that's cool. Now, technically, the deadline where I have to turn that in is, I think, October 2nd. So you can fudge it a couple days. I'm looking for the pack meeting as the event where I'm going to collect everything if possible. That's based on the top selling unit. Well, we were the top selling unit last year. But I was going to say, if someone's placing an order and they order 2 bags of caramel corn, don't write it on one line. 1 and 1. It fills up your sheet. It's not cheating. Everyone does it. Okay? At least on your first sheet, do that. Okay? And I'll explain how show and sells work in a moment as well. All right, next incentive, if you want to go for the larger dollar amount and sell $2,500 in any way you can, legally. Trails End contributes to a scholarship fund. They take 60% of your popcorn sales and they put it into a scholarship fund. And once you hit that mark 1 year, it doesn't matter from that point forward. All your popcorn sales from that point forward will put money into that fund. And in fact, if they're able to sell popcorn when they get into Boy Scouts, same thing, all the way up to the age of 18. Additional district top seller is going to get a $200 gift card. You'll probably need to sell $4,500 or more. Okay, so how do we get this done? Okay, first off, you need your order sheet. Okay, all sales, whether you do them not online, but whether you do them at show and sells, face to face, grab them over the phone, they all go on the sales sheet. And there are 5 ways to sell. Personal contacts, where I would start. Grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles. Next way is door to door, going out into your neighborhood or a neighborhood, selling door to door. I'll cover these in more detail in a second. And that was kind of fun. Okay. Show and sell, that's where we're going to be out front of Sam's Club, Lowe's, Hy-Vee. We'll be at the Fall Festival with a booth, and we'll sell popcorn there. And then den blitzes are kind of like a mobile show and sell. We load a bunch of popcorn into a van, get a bunch of boys and some adults, and go out to the neighborhood and just go to across the street and sell as many as you can in a short period of time and just deliver right then and there. We've had one den do that last year in an apartment complex, and it worked really well. We can just go from one to the next very quickly and get it covered. And then there's online selling. This works great when you have relatives out of town and just want to send them a link. Say, click this link and support me in Cub Scouts, and they can order popcorn. The prices are higher than food shipping. And the selections are different as well. Some of the same stuff, but it is different. Alright, so your personal contacts, like I said, or relatives, friends, coworkers. We picked up a lot of sales. Door to door. Okay, door to door selling teaches a lot. It teaches your son how to, talk to someone, explain something. Teaches confidence. If they can, take care of the management of the order sheet and the money, they can learn organizational skills and how to handle money, make change, depending on their age level, of course. Setting and achieving a goal. Okay, so, and fundraising is going to continue in Boy Scouts. So might as well start building those skills now. And one thing I emphasize, and this is why I'm talking to the parents, not the scouts, is you're the coach. So you're not the one out there selling, but you're the one helping your scout understand the best ways to sell and how to do this. All right, best practices. So I just have a bunch of bullet lists here. Don't delay, so don't say, I'm going to wait until October, I think, to start selling. Okay, you're going to find if you do that, there's going to be more and more houses where people said I already bought. I bought at Lowe's last week or whatever. Start this week. Start right away. I always suggest plan it. What I mean by that is identify the neighborhood, identify the time period. You might even make a map, like go on Google Maps and print out a map of where all the houses are at and then check them off as you go to them. That can be a great tool because what if they're not home? Well, you don't check it off and you go back there tomorrow. So, consider things like that. Go into it with the right expectations. I've found, at least in the neighborhoods that we usually go to, half the houses, nobody's home. Okay, so don't get frustrated by that. That's just, people are busy. Of the other half, there's going to be maybe half or so that have either already bought or they're going to say no. So just go into it with those expectations. Then it becomes a numbers game, right? So if I say I'm going to hit 20 houses, I know I'm going to probably sell to 5. And just keep building on that. So just have the right expectations. Don't get discouraged. I've heard people say that before. They'll say they went out into the neighborhood and everyone said no and they stopped and they never tried again. So don't do that. Just keep going and you'll see that it actually will work. Dedicate the time. Be safe, of course. We don't want Cub Scouts going out by themselves. I mean, ultimately that's between you and your scout, but I would advise you, please, be with your scout in doing this. As scouts get older, they're going to be able to handle doing more and more of it on their own. You can just kind of step back or stand on the curb and watch them do it. Tiger cubs are going to be right up there with them, and you'll be lucky if they can say something when the door opens. But they'll learn. Make it rewarding. Maybe go for ice cream afterwards, or something that would be encouraging. A good pat on the back. Have your son do the selling if at all possible. Okay, so have your son. Believe me, there's nothing more compelling when someone opens the door when they see a little Cub Scout there and he's saying, would you help support me in Cub Scouts by buying some gourmet popcorn? And people can't say no to that. So have your son do the selling, not you. Use the right sales pitch. I'll get to that in a moment. Collect payment now. Again, this is up to you, but when you turn in your order sheets, October 24th, we need payment. What we don't want to have to do is order a bunch of popcorn and then be waiting on you in November, December to turn in payment, because we have to pay for that popcorn like the first week in December. So we have never had a problem with this in our family. We go out and we just say, okay, we collect payment now and we deliver the first week in November. People are like, okay, no problem. Just explain it, don't apologize for it. And we've had almost no pushback on that. Checks payable to Pack 374. Identify the delivery time frame. We've even left cards for people in the past saying, expect your popcorn around this time frame, so they're not calling you in October wondering where it is. So set their expectations. Always say thank you, obviously. Always handle no politely, obviously. Just manners, right? Kids sometimes forget that. Someone says no and they walk away. Oh, shucks. No. Say no politely. All right, so sales pitch. Would you like to buy some popcorn? And then what happens is No thanks, and the door shuts and, you know, you're off and going again. And then your son's discouraged. Okay. Hi, my name is Mike. I'm raising money to support my Cub Scout Pack by selling delicious gourmet popcorn. Would you like to see our selections? And as he's saying that, he's handing the sheet to the customer, and you know, it's like they can't, and they just have to grab it, right? And then they're looking at the selection. That is what my son does. Every single house, and he sold over 4,000. Okay, important dates. So tomorrow, start selling. Do not start early. Oh, yeah, do not start early. In other words, don't start today. Early bird fill up, Sky Zone is September 29th pack meeting. Like I said, you know, if necessary, you could turn it in a couple days later. You just have to figure out how to get it to me. Order turn in is Saturday morning, October 24th or before. If that date does not work for you, just make an arrangement ahead of time to get me your orders and your funds. Okay, make the turn-in process easy, please. I can't emphasize this enough. Every year we have some issue where, you know, you look at the order sheet and there will be a 1 in the jalapeno popcorn column and there'll be a 10 in the amount column. If you look at that, the jalapeno popcorn is 15 and not 10. So what are you ordering? You're ordering caramel corn or jalapeno? And so down total it, multiply it, and then you know, add it across, you know, add it up, make sure it cross-checks and down-checks, and please do that. It saves us a lot of time trying to figure out things later. Count your money, obviously, make sure it adds up. Select your price. And we always try to make that process easy, but you know, have that identified up front. There's even a spot in the back where we can identify what price your son wants based on how much he sold. So when you turn everything in, just turn this in along with the order sheet, and we'll get that ordered. Any questions on door-to-door sales? All right, show and sell. Like I said, prearranged dates at local businesses, Lowe's, Sam's Club, Hy-Vee. This year we're experimenting. We're going to be at Fall Festival. Don't know how that's going to go yet. And actually, right now, you can go online. In fact, let me point this out real quick here. So on the Pack website, Popcorn Central has a lot of the same information. If you fill up an order sheet and you can't get another one from me fast enough, there's an online copy of the order sheet you can print out. There's just all kinds of resources there for popcorn. And one of those is show and sell events. And if you click the link to sign up, it takes you to a sign-in page, and then you're presented with a list of available dates. My login has a few more options on the screen than yours will, but that's kind of what it looks like. So I can see, for example, right now Sam's Club on the 18th has one opening from 4 to 6 and one opening from 6 to 8. Click that, click on sign up, identify who your scout is, click sign up, and you're on the list. It's pretty easy. You can do that from your phone, from a computer, wherever. And the email address to log in with is going to be the same one that you get your Pack emails from. Okay. And it'll ask you to create a password the first time in.
And is there somebody assigned to each of those shows as a leader that's going to actually?
I think there might be one where I need to find a new leader for it. All the rest of them have leaders already done. Oh, like a registered leader?
Or needs to be a person or a clerk, or is it?
No, it can be a parent. Basically, right. So basically, the way it works is, you might have seen there's going to be multiple shifts on a given day, right? Your son might not be there for every shift. And there's no possible way I can go and set up and take down all these different show and tell events. So I'm tricking you into this by saying if you're the first person to sign up your scout on that day, guess what? You're the leader. So, and it tells you that. And that just means that you have to coordinate with me to pick up a supply of popcorn, the tables, the cash box, the signage, go and set it up in the morning, tear it down in the evening, bring it back to me at some point in time. That's your responsibility.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
So last year, the parent in charge, the kid was allowed to do 2 shifts. So if the parent is in charge of 2 different show and tells, do we get 4 shifts?
That is not the way it works right now. I've been on the fence on that.
I think so.
What's that?
I think so.
Yeah. The bonus idea was something we kind of threw in there a couple of years ago of the extra shift. And I can understand wanting the extra shift for another leader's spot. It makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of trying to balance that with the goal of making sure that every scout has an opportunity. So we don't want to eat up all the shifts too quickly.
When you get open signups, right now it's Monday.
Open signups will become available Monday. So basically you have, if you haven't signed up for one at least already, you have this weekend to sign up for at least one, and then starting Monday, you can sign up for as many additional shifts as you want that are still open. There is one caveat to that, and that is, I learned my lesson last year. I opened it up, and I had I think I opened it up at like noon on a Friday or something. And we had various stay-at-home moms who were on their computer, and they just snapped up all those slots as quickly as they could. And by that evening, there wasn't hardly anything left for everyone else. So I learned my lesson. This year, the way it's going to work is you can add a maximum of 2 more shifts per day. And it'll keep track of the time. So if you sign up for 2 at 7 o'clock p.m., add another 2 at 7 o'clock p.m. the next day. And that way it's kind of controlled so everyone still has a chance to...
2 per kid, not per...
2 per kid. Yeah. I know you have, what, 3? Yeah. Okay.
As of Monday, we can sign up for, we could have potentially 3 shifts that we can sign up for.
Yep.
As of Monday, and then Tuesday, literally Sunday, Monday, so Tuesday, we do it over that shifts.
Right. Okay, you'll notice that the number of slots are limited. I looked at dollars per hour, and I want to make sure this is worthwhile. I haven't gone to Sutherland's yet because we do about half the volume at Sutherland's as we do at Lowe's. And by the time you split that up between 2 or 3 scouts, you're not getting much. So I'm looking at number of scouts per shift and trying to keep the return pretty reasonable. And that's why you see more at Sam's and fewer at Lowe's and so forth.
I did Lowe's, now last year was our first time, we did Lowe's, because we did like one at each place just to check it out, but
Yep.
we did one at Lowe's and then there was another troop or something that was at the other doors, so we were at one door and they were selling it at the other, so you could,
They're not supposed to do that.
catching them, so we had 2 different things.
We
But,
know-
I mean, it wasn't our pack,
Right.
it was somebody, yeah, it was another
They're not-
pack that was
yeah.
selling it the same day, and so they were catching them as they were coming out one door, and we were catching them as they were coming out a different door, and
Okay.
so
They're not supposed to do
people
that.
were getting kind of double questions.
Yeah. Because I know each store keeps a calendar, and they only put 1 unit on one given day, so they're not supposed to double up like that. And I have had a case before where another pack.
Another pack off.
Yeah.
I was there.
Okay.
Well, there was a case
Ice
where.
cream corner, you guys.
Well, that's what it was. It's like,
Well-
why would you do that when we're kind of competing with each other?
What I would say, if that happens, go and check with the store. Because we had that happen one time, and we went and checked with the store, and they said, no, that other pack is not on the calendar.
Okay.
And they
So
left.
they had wrong date or they had something. Okay.
Yep. Sign up, we covered that. Parents, the first parent's the leader. Leader bonus, we talked about that. And all remaining slots September 14th. Okay. Kind of talked about this already. Leader's role is to pick up the popcorn, arrive ahead of time, set up, pack up, return it. So pretty straightforward. General operation. So I provide a notebook to the leader when you pick up your stuff that has various instructions and guidelines in there and stuff that just helps you kind of know what to do. So you're not making that up on your own. We will accept credit cards. We use Square. And that's via your smartphone. And again, I'll provide you with the login information for that, so you can use your phone and take payment. We do accept donations. Okay, so the way the sales credit works, and I think I talked about the 25% already, but for show and sells, the way it works out is we calculate it for the day, not for the shift. So in other words, let's say that we had 4 shifts and we sold $1,000. Okay, so the $1,000 is going to be divided up by Scout based on hours worked for that day, and that's on the basis that you have no idea when that $1,000 is going to come in. It could have come in between 4 and 5 o'clock, and the rest of the shifts have nothing. So it's not really fair to say you only get credit for the shift you work, because we're all there as a team to make sure that entire event takes place. We have to fill all shifts. So it's a more fair way to do it. So basically, we just take, like I said, the hours, the Scout's hours divided by the total hours for the day times the total sales. And then what I'll communicate at the end is I'll tell you, on your order sheet, block out. Let's say of that $1,000, that amounted to 20 items. If that works out or not, but I'm going to tell you, block out 5 rows on your order sheet, and then write in Lowe's, $250 or whatever the number is. And that's how you're going to fill up your order sheets a little faster as well. We're not going to try to line item that, well, Billy sold a $10 bag of caramel corn during his shift and mark that off. It's just going to be in bulk. This big block says that's the show and sell dollar amount and number of rows. And that's never been questioned by the Fill It Up folks. They recognize that that's how show and sells work. Donations, 75% of the donations goes into your Scout account, and 25% goes to the pack. The reason the pack takes part of that is part of the Cub Scout, the Cub Scout, it's not the law, but it's, the Cub Scout helps the pack go, is the basis of that. Cub Scouts making your contribution. All right, last thing about show and sells conduct. We are guests, so be respectful. We do not want to encumber our hosts' operations, or they will not invite us back. That is why we do not sell at Walmart. Another pack messed that up for us. Several years back, there were some issues. Walmart will not do this again. We don't want to burn bridges with Sam's Club, with Hy-Vee, Lowe's. We want to be very respectful and not encumber their customers. And that means, customers don't want to feel like they're being harassed. They don't want to feel like you're getting in their way. So, your Scouts can stand outside the door, but not have them be in someone's way. If they're carting out a bunch of lumber, number one, you don't want them to be in the way because they'll get hurt. Number two, the customer's going to get upset. You could. So do not harass customers, stay out of the flow of traffic, and away from sliding doors. Businesses hate that. Scouts playing around doors opening and closing all the time. Okay, they don't want that either. No playing on store equipment or merchandise, just common sense stuff. But that's something that the parents who are there with the Scouts need to make sure their Scouts are abiding by that conduct. Questions about show and sells? Okay, den blitzes. I talked to some of the den leaders on Tuesday about this. Suggested that they get them organized, and I'm going to suggest to the parents that you talk to your den leaders and to get them organized. Again, it's a mobile show and sell. Load up a bunch of popcorn, go into a neighborhood, and sell it and deliver it. I suggest looking at places where our boys probably won't be going door to door to begin with. That's why one of the dens last year found a really nice apartment complex, went into that area, sold a bunch of popcorn, and that's not an area that most of our boys probably even ever go to selling door to door. So it worked out well. We just don't want to compete with the Our other boys in the pack were going door to door in their neighborhoods. Okay, last option, online, and there's a link on our pack website on how to do this. Again, just sign up for an account, and it's pretty easy. It even helps you send out the email. It'll actually ask you, like, give us a list of all of your contacts. Here's the template for the email. Click send, and it emails out to all your relatives and friends and whomever. Selections are different, prices are higher, include shipping. Okay, there's the direct link, but there's also a link from our website. You actually get notification if someone buys it, and then as the popcorn kernel, I can log in to the Trails End site and see all of our scouts and see if see who sold what online. The online sales, what we'll do at the end is we'll have you write your online sales down at the end of your order sheet, so we have those accounted for. We do have to account for them differently because that money is handled through the Trails End site and doesn't come through our account directly. So,
It still counts as like
yeah, that's a good question. I believe it does. I'm surprised I've never answered that question before. I think it does. I'll have to find out for sure how that works. But I would think if you sold 5 items online, that would count as 5 rows.
we just